Every single morning, there's a battle line drawn within you. On one side, the person you could be, relentless, disciplined, capable of impossible things. On the other side, the self that seeks comfort, that crafts excuses, that whispers doubts, the one content to stay stagnant, safe, and ultimately unfulfilled. This isn't metaphorical. It's the daily reality. The most crucial war you will ever fight is not against the world. It's against the weaker version of yourself. You versus you, and the outcome, decided moment by moment, choice by choice, dictates everything. Your success, your happiness, your entire legacy hinges on this internal conflict. Let's dismantle a comfortable lie right now. No one is coming to rescue you. Life owes you absolutely nothing. Not success, not fairness, not even opportunity. The world will not pause for your convenience, nor will it hand you your dreams because you simply want them. Forget luck. Forget waiting for a sign. Forget the fantasy of a shortcut or a magical break. That entire narrative is a sedative, designed to keep you passive, waiting for an external source that doesn't exist. The raw, inescapable truth is this: it's all on you. Every victory, every failure, every step forward, every moment wasted, the responsibility is entirely, unequivocally yours. You might protest. You might point to unfair circumstances, to difficult obstacles, to the disadvantages you faced. Yes, life can be brutally unfair. Yes, the playing field is often uneven. Yes, you will encounter barriers that seem insurmountable. But focusing on those external factors, dwelling on what you cannot control, is a loser's game. It's an abdication of power, because the single greatest obstacle, the one that truly holds the power to stop you dead in your tracks, isn't the economy, isn't your upbringing, isn't the competition, isn't what they think of you. The biggest obstacle, the final boss, is always internal. It's the excuses you manufacture with such convincing artistry. It's the fears of failure, of judgment, of discomfort, of success itself, that you allow to paralyze you, freezing you in place while opportunity marches by. It's the deeply ingrained habits, the patterns of procrastination, the addiction to distraction, the gravitation towards the easy path, that actively sabotage your potential day after weary day. It's the negative self-talk, the limiting beliefs you've accepted as gospel, the quiet, insidious voice that says, you can't, you're not enough, it's too hard. That internal resistance, that weaker self, that is the primary enemy you must conquer. But here lies the seed of your power. The very instant you stop, truly stop, blaming anything or anyone outside of yourself, the moment you look squarely at your life, your results, your current state, and declare, this is my doing, my responsibility, that is the moment the chains begin to break. It might feel terrifying at first, this radical ownership. There's no one left to blame, nowhere left to hide. But beneath the fear is liberation. Because if you are responsible for your current state, it means you also possess the power to change it. You regain control. You shift from being a passive recipient of life's events to the active creator of your experience. You stop asking, why did this happen to me, and start asking, what am I going to do about it? You cease being a victim of circumstance and become the master of your response. This shift isn't magic. It's a conscious choice, a deliberate reclaiming of your innate power. It dictates how far you'll push, the intensity of your work, the trajectory of your growth. This internal battleground, this is where you decide, every single day, who you are truly going to be. Mastering this internal conflict is the first and most vital step towards any meaningful achievement. Living under the command of the weaker self leads down a predictable path, paved with what-ifs, missed opportunities, and the dull, persistent ache of unrealized potential. It's a life defined by hesitation, perpetual waiting, the slow fade into regret, and the quiet resignation to mediocrity. Contrast that with a life steered by the stronger self, a life of deliberate, decisive action, resilience, born from adversity, and the deep, profound satisfaction that comes only from striving, growing, and consistently becoming more than you were yesterday. The difference isn't luck or circumstance. It's which internal general you consistently, consciously obey. This radical responsibility. It feels like a crushing weight initially, perhaps, but penetrate that feeling and see its true nature. It is the master key to your own liberation. By accepting fully that it's all on you, you shatter the invisible chains of victimhood. You reclaim the ultimate power, the power to choose, the power to act, the power to shape your destiny, transforming helplessness into sovereignty. You become the driver, seizing the wheel, no longer just a passenger subject to the whims of the road. And those internal obstacles, they aren't vague, abstract forces. They manifest concretely as the sudden, overwhelming wave of exhaustion that crashes just as you plan to hit the gym. The perfectly logical justification for delaying that crucial, uncomfortable conversation. The irresistible magnetic pull of the phone screen, promising fleeting dopamine when deep focus required. The subtle, yet paralyzing whisper that failure would simply be too humiliating to risk. Learn to recognize these phantoms, these illusions, for the direct sabotage they represent. This internal war isn't a campaign fought once a year or reviewed quarterly. It is waged in the trenches of every single moment, every point of decision. Each time you consciously choose discomfort over ease, deliberate action over mindless delay, unwavering discipline over fleeting impulse, you strike a decisive blow for your stronger self. You reinforce your commitment. You prove, yet again, who is truly, ultimately, in command. Being in command, truly in command, requires unflinching honesty, and the most challenging place to practice that honesty isn't in front of others, it's in front of yourself. Every single day, you face a profound test, simpler, yet more revealing than any academic exam or performance review. It requires no classroom, no grading scale beyond your own integrity. It's called the mirror test. When you stand there, looking into your own eyes, stripped bare of the masks you wear for the world, can you meet that gaze? Can you ask yourself, with brutal honesty, did I give everything I had today? Did I push my limits? Did I honor my potential? Did I fight the good fight against my own weakness? Can you genuinely say, I am proud of the person reflected here? The mirror, unlike the people around you, cannot be deceived by false confidence or well-crafted excuses. It reflects the unvarnished truth, showing you precisely who you are, based not on intentions, but on actions taken, or crucially, actions avoided. Every morning, every evening, you stand at this precipice of self-judgment. Will you be proud of the reflection staring back, or will you instinctively look away, burdened by the quiet, nagging knowledge that you could have done more, tried harder, demanded better from yourself? This test isn't about achieving some impossible standard of perfection. Perfection is an illusion, a dangerous trap. This is about progress. It's about the relentless pursuit of becoming better than you were yesterday. It's about proving to yourself, day after day after relentless day, that you are actively consciously, moving closer to the strongest, most capable version of yourself, the one you know, deep down, you were meant to be. Now, let's talk about that inner opponent, the weaker self, the voice that champions mediocrity. Some people spend their entire existence trying to find someone else to blame for their shortcomings. It's my boss's fault, I'm stuck. It's my upbringing that holds me back. It's the system, it's rigged against me. Stop. Just stop that narrative dead in its tracks. That is the anthem of the powerless, the chant of the victim. The truth, the liberating, empowering truth, is that you are your greatest opponent. It isn't your boss preventing you from learning new skills after hours. It isn't your parents forcing you to hit snooze 5 times every morning. It isn't the system making you choose mindless scrolling over focused work, fear over courageous action, temporary comfort over lasting growth. Those choices originate from within, from that version of you content with good enough, the version terrified of the pain required for great. If you truly desire to win the battle for your life, for your potential, you must first conquer this internal enemy. You have to relentlessly outwork, consistently outthink, and stubbornly outlast that weaker, excuse-making, comfort-seeking part of yourself. And understand this: it's not a war won in a single glorious charge. This isn't a battle fought once and finished. It's a daily grind, a constant vigilance, a relentless series of moment-to-moment decisions. The good news: you don't have to achieve total victory every single day. Some days, the weaker self will land blows. Some days, you'll stumble. What matters, what truly defines the trajectory of your life, is that you keep showing up for the fight. You keep getting back in the ring, ready to engage, ready to push back, ready to reassert command. Persistence in the face of internal resistance. That is the hallmark of the victor in this crucial war. True transformation, the kind that fundamentally alters who you are and what you achieve, doesn't erupt from grand, dramatic moments. It doesn't magically appear after a life-changing event, a new relationship, or a sudden windfall. Forget the lightning strike. Real change, lasting change, is forged in the crucible of the small, seemingly insignificant choices you make consistently, every single day. It's the decision to drag yourself out of bed instead of indulging the snooze button. It's choosing the water over the soda, the workout over the couch, the challenging book over the mindless entertainment. It's dedicating that hour to learning a valuable skill instead of losing it to the infinite scroll. These individual choices, they might feel small, almost trivial in isolation, but they are the atoms that build mountains. Each disciplined choice is a small win, a micro-victory over your weaker self. Each one builds momentum, strengthens your resolve, rewires your brain, reinforces the identity of someone who does the hard things. And over time, weeks, months, years, these small wins compound, accumulating into profound, undeniable transformation. So stop waiting for the earthquake. Start laying the bricks, meticulously, consistently, relentlessly, knowing each choice shapes the edifice of your future self. Laying those bricks, making those small, disciplined choices day after day, requires you to confront the universal human tendency that sabotages more potential than any external force ever could. The deep-seated avoidance of discomfort. Let's be brutally honest. Most people run from anything that feels hard, messy, uncertain, or painful. Growth, real transformation, by its very nature, is uncomfortable. Play. It demands stretching beyond your current limits, facing things you'd rather ignore, doing things that feel difficult, awkward, even scary. Think about it. Why do people abandon their fitness goals? Because the burn in the muscles, the early alarm, The sweat is uncomfortable. Why do they stay tethered to jobs that drain their soul? Because the uncertainty of change, the risk of starting something new, feels more threatening than the known misery. Why do they shy away from difficult conversations or ambitious projects? Because the potential for rejection, for failure, for looking foolish, creates a profound sense of unease. They prioritize immediate comfort, temporary ease, over long-term fulfillment and growth. Here's the truth you need to internalize, sear into your consciousness. Discomfort is not a signal to retreat. It is the very price of progress. It is the friction necessary for traction. It is the resistance that builds strength. Every single time you voluntarily face discomfort, whether it's the physical strain of a demanding workout, the mental exertion of deep focus, the emotional vulnerability of taking a risk, or the awkwardness of learning a new skill, you are actively building resilience. You are proving to yourself, on a fundamental level, that you are stronger, more capable, more durable than the voice of comfort suggests. Don't just tolerate discomfort. Learn to embrace it. Lean into it. Seek it out within reason, understanding that on the other side of that feeling lies everything you claim to want. Strength, confidence, competence, freedom, they all reside just beyond the border of your current comfort zone. Comfort, on the other hand, is the silent killer of ambition we spoke of earlier. It's the warm, inviting prison cell that feels safe, familiar, predictable, but it locks you in, preventing you from exploring the vast potential outside its walls. Comfort lulls you into complacency, whispers that good enough is sufficient, convinces you that striving for more is unnecessary, perhaps even foolish. It is the domain of the weaker self, the fertile ground where excuses take root and flourish. Choosing comfort consistently, prioritizing ease above all else, is choosing stagnation. It's choosing to remain the same, while the world and your own potential moves on without you. This avoidance of discomfort is the engine driving procrastination. How many times have you uttered the phrase, "I'll start tomorrow"? How many dreams, goals, intentions have been deferred, placed on hold, relegated to the mythical land of someday? You wait for the perfect moment, the right conditions, the surge of motivation, the feeling of readiness. Let me deliver the harsh news. Someday doesn't exist on any calendar. The perfect moment is an illusion, a convenient lie your weaker self constructs to justify inaction. Today, waiting for someday, waiting until you feel like it, waiting until it feels comfortable or easy, is condemning yourself to perpetual waiting, waking up years from now wondering where the time went, haunted by the ghosts of opportunities you were too afraid, too comfortable to seize. The only time you possess, the only moment you can control, the only point where action is possible, is now. Not 5 minutes from now, not after this video, not next week. Now, you have to stop waiting, stop delaying, stop negotiating with your weaker self. Start doing. Take the first step, however small, however imperfect. Because every day you postpone action, you're not just losing time, you're reinforcing the habit of delay, digging the trench of inaction deeper, making it that much harder to climb out tomorrow. Action, even small, imperfect action, creates momentum. Momentum is a powerful force, perhaps the most powerful in the physics of personal change. When you take that first difficult step, when you choose discomfort over ease, you initiate a positive ripple effect. One disciplined action makes the next one slightly easier. One small win builds confidence, fueling further effort. You start to prove to yourself, through tangible evidence, that you can do this. that you are in control. Conversely, staying stuck, giving in to laziness or fear, creates negative momentum. The longer you remain inactive, the heavier the inertia becomes. The more daunting the first step appears. The deeper you sink into stagnation. The choice is always yours. In every moment, will you build positive momentum through action, embracing the necessary discomfort, or will you allow negative momentum to solidify through inaction? Seeking the false refuge of comfort, recognize comfort for the trap it is. Understand discomfort as the gateway to growth, and choose consciously, deliberately, to start now, letting that action build the momentum that carries you forward. Letting that momentum carry you forward requires you to clear the debris from your path, and one of the most pervasive, most insidious forms of debris is the habit of comparison. Looking sideways, constantly measuring your progress, your success, your life, against the perceived realities of others. Stop it. Immediately. It is poison to your potential, a thief of joy, and a powerful weapon wielded by your weaker self to keep you paralyzed by feelings of inadequacy or envy. You scroll through feeds, you see the curated snapshots, the highlight reels, the filtered perfection, and you inevitably compare it to your own messy, complex, unedited reality. See someone else achieve a goal you're still striving for, seemingly faster, seemingly easier, and the corrosive thought creeps in. Why not me? What am I doing wrong? Maybe I'm just not cut out for this. This comparison game is unwinnable, precisely because you're comparing incomplete data points, their finished product against your work in progress, their public victory against your private struggle. Don't see the years of silent grinding there, the failures they overcame, the sacrifices they made, the unique advantages they might have started with. You see only the surface and judge your depth against it. It's a recipe for perpetual dissatisfaction. Furthermore, there is no universal formula for success, no single blueprint that guarantees results for everyone. What works for one person, based on their unique skills, circumstances, values, and definition of success, might be entirely wrong for you. Your journey, let this sink in, is yours. It is as unique as your fingerprint, shaped by your individual experiences, strengths, weaknesses, and aspirations. Trying to walk someone else's path, trying to replicate their exact steps, is like trying to navigate your city using a map of a completely different continent. You will inevitably get lost, frustrated, and further away from your own true destination. Therefore, the critical task, the non-negotiable requirement for genuine self-focused growth, is to define your own metrics. Stop measuring your success by external validation, by societal expectations, or by comparison to anyone else's timeline. You must look inward, deeply, and ask yourself the hard questions. What does success truly mean to me? What values do I want my life to embody? What kind of impact do I want to make? What does the best version of myself look like, feel like, act like? Is it purely financial wealth? Is it creative fulfillment? Is it physical mastery? Is it strong relationships? Is it freedom and autonomy? Is it service to others? Only you can answer these questions. And until you do, you'll be forever susceptible to chasing goals that aren't truly yours, running a race you never signed up for. Once you have your definition, your values, your vision, chart your own course, make your own map, then focus relentlessly on that. The only comparison that matters, the only benchmark worth striving for, is measured against your own potential, your own progress, your own past performance. Are you better today than you were yesterday? Did you give your all, according to your standards, pursuing your goals? That is the essence of the you versus you battle. Win that battle consistently, and external comparisons become utterly irrelevant noise. This requires immense focus, a conscious withdrawal of attention from the distracting spectacle of others' lives, and a redirection of that energy inward, onto your own process, your own actions, your own growth. Don't worry if your pace seems slower than someone else's. Life is not a synchronized race. Consistency on your path, diligent effort aligned with your values, progress measured against your potential. That is what builds lasting fulfillment, authentic success, and unshakable self-respect. Stop looking sideways. Look forward on your defined course. Look inward to ensure you are aligned with your own compass. Focus on running your race, improving your time, becoming the best version of you, because that is the only contest you can truly control, and the only one worth winning. This inward focus, this commitment to your unique journey, is the bedrock upon which you build resilience against the inevitable noise and pressure of the external world. Building resilience against that external noise, charting your own course, defining success on your own terms, these are foundational acts of self-sovereignty. But a map, no matter how clearly drawn, is useless if the traveler refuses to take the first step, and then the next, and the next, consistently, relentlessly. Your inward focus, your personal definition of victory, must be translated into unwavering, daily action. Without execution, vision is merely hallucination. This is where the rubber meets the road, where the battle of you versus you moves from the realm of intention to the grid of reality. It demands, absolutely demands, the cultivation and deployment of discipline. We've touched on this, but let's drive it home. Forget waiting to feel like doing the work. Forget waiting for the muse of motivation to strike. Those are luxuries you cannot afford on the path to becoming the best version of yourself. Motivation is a fair weather friend, showing up when the sun is shining, but vanishing at the first sign of storm clouds. Discipline, however, is the all-weather ally, the bedrock commitment that compels you to act according to your plan, according to your principles, regardless of your mood, your energy levels, or the chorus of doubts sung by your weaker self. You must train yourself rigorously to divorce your actions from your feelings. Feel tired? Show up anyway. Feel uninspired? Do the work anyway. Feel afraid? Take the step anyway. Feel discouraged because progress seems invisible? Trust the process and execute the plan anyway. This conscious override of fleeting internal states, this commitment to action based on decision rather than emotion, is the engine of real progress. It's how you consistently feed the stronger self and starve the weaker one. And yes, progress will often feel invisible, especially in the beginning. You put in the effort, day after grinding day, and the results aren't immediately apparent. The scale doesn't move. The bank account doesn't swell. The skill doesn't feel mastered. This is a critical juncture, a test of faith, not in some external force, but faith in the unwavering law of cause and effect. Faith in the power of compounded effort. Remember the seed. Remember the tree. Growth happens beneath the surface, long before it breaks through into visibility. You must trust this process. Trust that every disciplined workout, every hour of focused study, every rejection faced and learned from, every difficult choice made in alignment with your values, is adding a layer to your foundation, building capacity, strengthening resolve, even when the mirror doesn't yet reflect the change. Abandoning the effort because you don't see instant results is like digging up the seed every day to see if it's sprouting. Have the patience, the persistence, the discipline to keep watering it, knowing the harvest requires consistent cultivation over time. This consistency isn't just about willpower. It's about intelligently designing your life, about deliberately forging powerful habits. Habits are the automation of discipline. They reduce the need for constant decision-making, freeing up mental energy and making the desired actions the default, rather than a daily struggle against resistance. The likes. Identify the core actions, the non-negotiables, required to move towards your defined goals. Then, systematically, build routines, create environments, implement systems that make performing those actions as frictionless as possible. Program the stronger self into your daily operating system to make showing up, doing the work, the automatic response, starving the weaker self of the opportunity to gain traction through hesitation or debate. The likes. And here's a profound consequence of this internally driven, consistent action. You begin to cultivate genuine, unshakable self-trust and internal validation. The makes. When you consistently show up for yourself, when you keep the promises you make to yourself, when you act in alignment with your values and your plan, independent of external applause or approval, you build a deep reservoir of self-respect. The likes. You start proving to yourself, through repeated action, that you are reliable, capable, disciplined. The likes. This internal proof, this earned confidence, is infinitely more valuable and sustainable than any fleeting validation sought from the outside world. You stop needing others to tell you you're on the right track, because you know you are, based on your adherence to your own internal compass and your consistent execution of the necessary work, steadily, purposefully, transforming potential into reality. Transforming potential into reality through consistent, self-directed action builds undeniable momentum, forging internal validation that no external opinion can shake. But action, even disciplined action, is only truly effective when guided by clarity. And clarity, genuine clarity about your path, your progress, and the nature of your internal opponent, demands profound self-awareness. You cannot win a war if you do not understand the terrain, your own strength, your own weaknesses, and the tactics of the enemy within. Focusing on yourself, therefore, necessitates a commitment to rigorous, often uncomfortable, self-examination. It goes beyond the daily mirror test of effort. It requires periodically stepping back, creating space for deeper reflection, and asking yourself difficult questions with unflinching honesty. Are the goals I'm pursuing truly mine, rooted in my authentic values and desires? Or are they echoes of societal pressure, parental expectation, or a desire for external approval? Are the methods I'm employing actually effective? Or am I just grinding away out of habit, mistaking busyness for progress? Are my core values still aligned with my daily actions? Am I becoming the person I genuinely intend to be? Or am I drifting off course? This kind of honest assessment isn't self-indulgence. It's essential navigation, ensuring your relentless effort is directed towards a destination that truly matters to you. Furthermore, winning the you versus you battle requires keen intelligence on the enemy. You must become intimately familiar with the specific strategies, the predictable patterns, the subtle disguises employed by your weaker self. What are your go-to excuses? Under what circumstances do they typically arise? What specific fears trigger procrastination or avoidance in you? What limiting beliefs about yourself, about the world, have you unconsciously accepted as truth? Sarg. Observe yourself without judgment, like a strategist studying an opponent's playbook. Notice the patterns. When do you feel most tempted to quit? What situations drain your resolve? What thoughts precede moments of self-sabotage? Recognizing these patterns, understanding your triggers, identifying the specific tactics of your internal resistance, is the first step towards dismantling their power over you. You cannot defeat an enemy you do not understand. Self-awareness extends crucially to how you process setbacks and mistakes. Yes, failure is data. It's feedback from the external world. But more importantly, it's a mirror reflecting your internal state. When you stumble, Don't just analyze the external factors. Look inward. What internal weakness, lack of skill, flawed assumption, or unaddressed fear contributed to this outcome? Was it impatience, lack of preparation, ego getting in the way, fear of asking for help, approaching mistakes not with shame, but with diagnostic curiosity? Turns every error into an invaluable opportunity for self-discovery and targeted improvement. It allows you to reinforce the weak points in your own internal structure, making you more resilient, more capable for the next challenge. The ultimate goal of this relentless self-focus, this deep dive into self-awareness, is authenticity. It's about stripping away the layers of conditioning, the borrowed beliefs, the externally imposed identities, to uncover the core of who you truly are. It's about aligning your thoughts, your words, and your actions with your genuine values and purpose. Living authentically, guided by your internal compass rather than the shifting winds of external opinion, is a profound source of strength, peace, and power. It frees you from the exhausting performance of trying to be someone you're not, allowing you to channel all that energy into becoming the best version of who you are. This requires courage, the courage to question everything, especially your own long-held assumptions. The courage to admit when you're wrong, to acknowledge your flaws, to confront uncomfortable truths. It's an ongoing process, a discipline in itself. The discipline of paying attention, of asking why, of seeking understanding, not just of the world, but fundamentally, of yourself. This cultivated self-awareness, this deep knowing of your internal landscape, becomes the bedrock upon which all effective self-mastery is built, allowing you to navigate the internal battle with increasing skill, precision, and resolve. Navigating that internal battle with increasing skill, precision, and resolve requires not only self-awareness, but also the right environment for that awareness to flourish. And often, paradoxically, in our hyper-connected world, that environment is found in solitude, in deliberately, strategically stepping away from the relentless barrage of external noise, the constant pings, endless scrolls, the shallow interactions, the opinions of strangers, the curated lives designed to provoke comparison. This cacophony actively prevents deep thought, drowns out your inner voice, and keeps your focus perpetually scattered, fractured, externalized. To truly focus on yourself, to win the war of you versus you must reclaim pockets of silence, moments of disconnection from the outer world, to reconnect with the inner one. Solitude, purposeful solitude, is not loneliness. It's not isolation in the negative sense. It is a powerful, necessary tool for the man committed to growth, self-mastery, and authentic living. It is the training ground for the mind, the sanctuary where clarity is found, and the fortress where internal resilience is built, away from the diluting influence of the crowd. Think about it. How can you possibly hear your own thoughts, discern your true values, strategize your next move, when you're constantly bombarded with external stimuli? How can you engage in honest self-assessment when your attention is perpetually hijacked by the manufactured urgency of notifications or the endless stream of digital content? You can with deep focus, meaningful introspection, genuine connection with your core self. These require space, quiet, an intentional turning down of the external volume. Most people fear this silence, this solitude. Being alone with their own thoughts feels uncomfortable, even terrifying. They immediately reach for a distraction. The phone, the television, anything to avoid confronting the internal landscape. This fear, this aversion to solitude, is a sign of weakness, a sign that the weaker self, the one that thrives on external noise and validation, is still largely in command. Learning to be comfortable, even productive, in your own company is a fundamental step towards self-reliance and inner strength. It's about becoming your own companion, someone you can rely on, someone whose presence you don't need to constantly escape. Purposeful solitude allows you to do the critical internal work identified earlier. It's where you can analyze your progress without the distorting lens of comparison. It's where you can dissect failures and extract lessons without the pressure of external judgment. It's where you can plan your next move strategically, aligned with your goals, not someone else's agenda. It's where you can reconnect with your why, reminding yourself what you're fighting for, reinforcing your commitment away from the energy-draining skepticism or indifference of others. Furthermore, embracing solitude cultivates internal validation. When you spend less time seeking approval, applause, or agreement from the outside world, you naturally begin to rely more on your own judgment, your own standards, your own internal compass. You learn to trust yourself. You build confidence based on your own actions and integrity, not on the fluctuating opinions of the crowd. The need for external validation diminishes, replaced by a quiet, solid sense of self-worth, earned through your own efforts and self-awareness, nurtured in these periods of focused introspection. Remember the scripts highlighting that greatness is built in the shadows, that success is often a lonely road. This isn't a lament, it's a strategic reality. The deep work, the transformative work, rarely happens in the spotlight. This isn't advocating for becoming a hermit, cutting off all human connection. Meaningful relationships are vital, but it is advocating for the discipline of solitude, for intentionally carving out time and space to disconnect, reflect, strategize, and simply be with yourself. Whether it's through early mornings before the world wakes, dedicated toward journaling or meditation, walks in nature without distractions, or simply turning off the devices for a period each day, find what works for you and guard that time fiercely. Treat it as essential training, just as vital as your physical workouts or your focused work sessions. It is the maintenance, the calibration, the strengthening of your internal guidance system, ensuring you remain centered, focused, and firmly in command, navigating your path from a place of inner clarity, regardless of the external storms. You must learn to fiercely protect that internal state, that hard-won focus, when you re-engage with the demands and distractions of the external world. This protection, this active defense of your mental and energetic space, is achieved through the discipline of setting clear, firm, non-negotiable boundaries. Boundaries are not walls built out of hostility or selfishness. They are the necessary guardrails on your path, the filtration system for your attention, the declaration of self-respect that communicates to the world, and more importantly, to yourself, that your time, your energy, and your mission matter. Without boundaries, you become porous, easily invaded by the priorities, demands, dramas, and negativity of others. Your focus fragments, your energy dissipates, and the internal clarity you cultivated in solitude evaporates in the face of external chaos. Winning the you versus you battle demands that you become acutely aware of what drains you, what distracts you, what pulls you away from your purpose. Identify the energy vampires in your life, the people who consistently complain, criticize, or wallow in negativity without seeking solutions. Sasavan, recognize the activities that offer fleeting pleasure but steal valuable time and focus. The mindless scrolling, the excessive entertainment, the gossip sessions. Pinpoint the environments that foster mediocrity, complacency, or unhealthy habits. Self-awareness, cultivated through honest self-reflection, is the prerequisite for effective boundary setting. You must know what you are protecting yourself from. Then comes the hard part, the part that requires courage, the part where the weaker self screams in protest. You must be willing to say no, No to requests that derail your priorities. No to commitments you don't have the capacity or desire to fulfill. No to invitations that lead you into environments counterproductive to your growth. No to conversations that devolve into negativity or gossip. No to allowing others' lack of planning to become your emergency. Saying no, especially to people we care about or feel obligated to, is deeply uncomfortable for many. It triggers fears of disapproval, rejection, conflict, Yusuf. But remember part 3. Discomfort is the price of growth. Choosing the temporary discomfort of setting a boundary is infinitely preferable to the long-term pain of resentment, burnout, and compromised purpose that comes from consistently violating your own needs and priorities. Yusuf, every time you say yes when you mean no, you betray yourself. You strengthen the weaker self that prioritizes external approval over internal integrity. Clear boundaries, paradoxically, often lead to healthier relationships. They eliminate ambiguity, reduce resentment, and communicate clearly what you value, including your own time and energy. People learn how to interact with you based on the limits you establish. Those who respect your boundaries, even if they initially test them, are likely the relationships worth investing in. Those who consistently disregard them, those who react with anger or manipulation when their excessive demands aren't met, reveal themselves as energy drains you must distance yourself from for the sake of your own progress and well-being. Focusing on yourself, truly committing to your internal development and external mission, inherently requires exclusion. You cannot pursue greatness in your chosen domain while simultaneously trying to be everything to everyone, participating in every activity, consuming every piece of information. Your time, your focus, your energy are finite. To dedicate them effectively to what truly matters, you must consciously choose not to dedicate them to things that don't. Setting boundaries is the practical application of this principle. It's how you allocate your precious resources, protecting them from being squandered on the trivial, the distracting, the detrimental. Consider your mental space as valuable territory. Are you allowing just anyone to dump their negativity, their complaints, their distractions into it? Or are you actively guarding the gates, curating what enters, ensuring your internal environment remains conducive to focus, positivity, and growth? This requires vigilance, the discipline to turn off the noise, to unfollow the negative, to walk away from unproductive interactions. It's an ongoing act of self-defense, protecting the inner clarity you've fought hard to achieve, ensuring your internal fortress remains strong, resilient, and impervious to the chaos outside its walls, allowing you to channel your preserved energy into the next vital stage. Deliberate self-investment, channeling that preserved energy, utilizing the focused time you've carved out by setting firm boundaries, requires a conscious decision about where to direct those precious resources. And in the battle of you versus you, the most strategic, most high-leverage allocation is always, without exception, deliberate investment back into yourself. Not selfishly, not narcissistically, but strategically, understanding that you are the primary asset, the engine driving every outcome in your life. Strengthening that asset, upgrading that engine, yields returns far exceeding any external venture. Stop viewing self-improvement as a luxury, a hobby, something to dabble in when you have time. It is a necessity. It is the ongoing, relentless work required to equip your stronger self with the tools, the knowledge, the capabilities needed to consistently win the internal war and navigate the external world effectively. Investing in yourself isn't spending. It's compounding future potential. Every hour dedicated to learning, every effort made towards improving your health, every moment spent sharpening your mindset, pays dividends that ripple across every area of your existence. Consider skill acquisition. In a rapidly changing world, competence is currency. What skills do you need to advance towards your defined goals? What knowledge gaps are holding you back? A disciplined individual, The one focused on self-mastery is a perpetual student. They actively identify areas for growth, seek out knowledge, practice deliberately, and commit to lifelong learning. This isn't just about career advancement. It's about increasing your fundamental capability, your resourcefulness, your ability to solve problems, create value, and adapt to new challenges. Every new skill mastered is another weapon in the arsenal of your younger self, making you more formidable, more independent, less reliant on external circumstances. Don't wait for someone else to train you. Take responsibility for your own development. Read the books, take the courses, find the mentors, do the work. Equally critical is the ongoing investment in your mindset, the internal operating system that filters your reality and drives your actions. Are you actively cultivating resilience? Are you practicing gratitude? Are you challenging your limiting beliefs? Are you reinforcing the mental frameworks of discipline, ownership, and growth? This requires conscious effort, perhaps through journaling, meditation, reflection, consuming empowering information, and consciously practicing desired thought patterns. It's just like a muscle. Your mindset strengthens with deliberate exercise and weakens with neglect. The investing time and energy here ensures your internal compass remains true, your resolve remains firm, and your perception remains empowering, even when faced with adversity. It's about actively programming yourself for success from the inside out. Testing up cuts you, and we must return always to the physical foundation. Investing in your health, your energy levels, your physical resilience is non-negotiable. As emphasized before, your body is the vessel, the machine. Pouring resources into skills and mindset, while neglecting the physical engine, is like upgrading the software on failing hardware. It's consistent, disciplined training, mindful nutrition, adequate rest. These aren't separate health goals. They are fundamental investments in your overall capacity to perform, to endure, to live powerfully. Sustenance derived from physical vitality fuels mental clarity, emotional stability, and the sheer stamina required for sustained effort on the long, arduous journey of self-mastery. Prioritize it accordingly. Contrast this path of active self-investment with the default mode of passive consumption that traps so many, senselessly scrolling through feeds, binge-watching entertainment designed to numb rather than uplift, consuming low-quality information, engaging in activities that deplete rather than replenish energy. This isn't relaxation, it's slow self-erosion. It's choosing to feed the weaker self, the one that craves distraction and ease, while starving the stronger self, the one that thrives on growth, challenge, and meaningful contribution. Stress of views, an hour where the gap between who you are and who you could be potentially widens. Therefore, be ruthless in evaluating how you spend your protected time and energy. Is this activity, this information, this interaction actively contributing to your growth, strengthening your capabilities, moving you closer to your authentic goals? Or is it merely filling time, providing temporary escape, reinforcing stagnation? Choose investment over consumption. Choose growth over decay. Choose to actively build the formidable self, equipped with the skills, the mindset, and the vitality needed, not just to survive, but to thrive, recognizing that this continuous self-investment is the pathway to unlocking deeper levels of potential, preparing you for the lifelong nature of this internal campaign. This continuous self-investment, this deliberate strengthening of your skills, your mindset, your physical being, is not a phase you pass through. It is the way, the lifelong commitment required to consistently win the only battle that truly defines your existence. You versus you. Understand this deeply. The moment you declare victory, the moment you decide you've done enough, learned enough, become strong enough, that is the precise moment the weaker self begins its insidious counterattack. Complacency, thinking you have arrived, is the breeding ground for stagnation, the beginning of the slide back towards mediocrity. This internal war demands constant vigilance, perpetual effort, an unwavering commitment to growth, until your very last breath. See now how all these threads, self-awareness, radical responsibility, embracing discomfort, unwavering discipline, purposeful action, strategic solitude, firm boundaries, relentless self-investment, weave together into an integrated system of self-mastery. See, are not isolated tactics. They are interdependent components of a powerful internal operating system. Weakness in one area inevitably compromises strength in others. True, lasting power lies in the holistic integration, the relentless cultivation of excellence across all domains. The ultimate aim of this intense self-focus, this relentless internal work, is not mere self-improvement for its own sake. See here, it is the pursuit of authenticity. It's about excavating your true self from beneath the rubble of societal conditioning, external expectations, and self-imposed limitations. It's about aligning your life, your choices, your actions, with your deepest values, your unique purpose, the core of who you genuinely are. Living this way, guided by your internal compass, validated from within, immune to the noise of external opinion, is the definition of true freedom, true power. It is the liberation that comes from mastering yourself. See here, remember, all the strength you need, all the potential you possess, all the capacity for change resides within you right now. It's not out there waiting to be found, granted, or discovered by chance. See here, it lies dormant, perhaps waiting for you to claim it, to activate it through conscious choice, unwavering discipline, and courageous action. Stop looking outside for the key, the permission slip, the magic solution. See here, you are the key. Your decision, your commitment, your willingness to engage in the internal battle, that is what unlocks the door. Embrace this journey, this lifelong process of becoming. See here, find the profound satisfaction not just in the milestones achieved, but in the daily act of striving, the quiet dignity of discipline, the strength forged in overcoming internal resistance. See here, recognize that the struggle itself, the conscious effort to be better than you were yesterday, is inherently meaningful, deeply rewarding in a way that passive comfort can never replicate. The path is demanding. Yes, it requires sacrifice. Yes, it involves confronting uncomfortable truths. Absolutely. But it is the only path that leads to a life of genuine power, authentic fulfillment, and unshakable self-respect. See here, you stand perpetually at the crossroads, the intersection of who you have been and who you are capable of becoming. The weaker self will always beckon towards the familiar, the easy, the comfortable path of least resistance. The stronger self, the voice of your potential, calls you towards the climb, towards the challenge, towards growth. No one else can make this choice for you. No external circumstance truly dictates it. The power, the responsibility, the entire trajectory of your life rests upon the cumulative weight of your daily decisions in this fundamental internal conflict. Choose wisely. Choose deliberately. Choose to become the architect of your destiny, the master of yourself, the victor in the most important battle you will ever fight. See how these threads weave together. The physical vitality fuels the mental endurance needed for deep work. The emotional stability allows for rational financial decisions under pressure. The clarity of purpose directs the disciplined application of resources. The strength built in one domain reinforces all others, creating a synergistic upward spiral, a fortress built not of isolated pillars, but of interlocking, mutually supporting walls. See, and within this striving, learn to find not just tolerance for the difficulty, but a profound sense of aliveness within it. The moments of intense focus, pushing boundaries, wrestling with complex problems, these are where true satisfaction lies, far deeper than the shallow comforts the world offers. This is the meaning inherent in the struggle, the quiet joy of conscious effort, fully engaged. This engagement, this active participation in your own becoming, grants you the ultimate freedom, the freedom from feeling like a pawn of fate. Even when facing forces beyond your control, you retain the power of response, the dignity of choice, the agency of the architect, not the victim. You are the sculptor, and the marble is your own life. The man forged on this path becomes more than just strong or successful. He gains wisdom through experience, adaptability through challenge, compassion through understanding his own struggles, and the capacity to leave a mark that resonates with integrity and purpose. His why may refine, deepen, expand, but the commitment to the journey, the relentless pursuit of his highest potential, remains his constant guide, his truest north. The sake. Join the path. Subscribe.